think Tom Moody's seen CSK do CSK things in the IPL? I guess if you're in that franchise and what MS has become there, which is so unique, Tom, this is a moment that you'd remember. You'd be thrilled to be at the Chepauk to witness MS.
He's the cornerstone of that franchise, and it is one of the most successful franchises, in the history of the IPL. Even though it's only a small history, but it's a significant one from Chennai's point of view. 4 trophies under Dhoni. Incredible successful home percentage win rate, over 70%. And regarded not only in IPL cricket but in global cricket as one of the great captains.
Yeah.
Tactically, as a man manager, he is really second to none of his generation.
It's perhaps a feat that, fair to say, Teddy, we may never see again. There's no other captain who's continued captaining from the inaugural season at the same franchise. The man's done with international cricket. We could have even had this significant milestone last year had he continued with captaincy. We could have had it even sooner had Chennai Super Kings not been out of the IPL in the time that they were. But it's almost fair to say you can't possibly see anybody else, Indian or international, ever achieving this.
Well, I think that's what great players do. They sort of set those records, and they're hard to beat. I think he's probably the guy. You almost put his IPL career with Chennai alongside his Indian captaincy career. I know it's not the same, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
There's not a lot of guys you might almost equal that with. So that's a big feat in itself as well. He's as much loved as a Chennai player as an Indian captain.
You sense it's almost one of the MS things that happened back then too. I'm sure with the confidence he enjoys, which is well known now in cricketing circles and out of it by the ownership, that MS is more than just captain there. He would be an active decision maker when it comes to all things connected to the cricketing side of the franchise, maybe even beyond. And even getting Stephen Fleming, this must be a rare case of the captain saying, that's the coach I want, which doesn't happen at franchise cricket, does it?
No, it doesn't. He's nearly like captain CEO, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't happen in franchise cricket or in any cricket for that matter. But MS Dhoni, I think, is that highly regarded by the ownership there and by the franchise that he makes a number of calls both on and off the field, and more often than not they are the right calls because he surrounds himself with the right people, and there's been times, let's face it, there's been times that we've all questioned at times their strategy with certain selection of players and what have you, and we've made to be look pretty stupid because it's worked out for them, because Dhoni has got something in mind that we're not even thinking about, and that's really a trademark of his captaincy, as well as he's that captain that's an over ahead of the game. He's making a play before you're ready for it. Yeah,
a recurring theme of players, both Indian and international, has been how happy they are when they go to CSK, Teddy. I mean, it's almost a point of envy for anyone who doesn't get picked at the auction by CSK, and you think, damn, I wish I could go there.
It is a bit like that, and I know, chatting to a few ex-Australian players, when that happened to them, Watto and these guys, they all said the same thing. A great environment. They spoke about Dhoni straight away. And maybe that was also a thing as an Indian captain. I'm not taking anything away of Indian captains in the past, but for one to be recognised globally as a great leader, I think that was massive for Indian cricket.
Just things MS does. And you talk about Shane Watson, and I go back to the 18th season, Tom Moody would remember that well. Watson was perhaps facing the worst year or two in his cricketing career, and is perhaps again in the last few, the twilight of his career. A stats team dug out the numbers as well, where we put this in a category that the stats team doesn't like, which is just MS hunches or just MS things. Normally stats and data tend to tell you compelling points, and beyond a point you can't argue with them. And Watson in 16 and 17, with the bat at RCB, 22 innings, scored 250 at an average of 13. CSK got him in, sent him to open, and that was a season with 555 runs, 15 innings, and a title-winning 117 in the final. It's just, again, testament to what they do.
And that particular season you're referring to, Shane Watson's lead up to Sunrisers match against Chennai Super Kings in Chennai, he had a horror run, and we kindly introduced him back into some form. I can't remember exactly what he got, but he got about 70 or 80,
And I think it was after he played out of Maiden, and it was
Oh,
after he started
no,
slow.
you're
Or have I
maybe
got
thinking of
year
the
wrong?
final. You're
Right,
thinking of the final.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this was a group game.
Group game, okay. And we're seeing evidence of that even now. Ajinkya Rahane didn't find any love at the auction, and you think there's a player that no one's going to pick up, rarely possibly play in the top three. Here he comes in for what could be standalone game. I don't know if he's playing today. We'll confirm that in just a minute. But Rahane doing what he did last time just tells you how the Indian senior players, which are sometimes the hardest to win over, find love at MS and
when,
CSK.
when you say, we're not sure if he's playing or not, the one thing that MS does do is he shows a bit of faith. And it seems from afar he sort of tends to leave guys for an extended run. Whether this happens with Rahane or not remains to be seen. But he's very good at giving guys an extended run and giving them a chance. I think he simplifies things a lot. He simplifies captaincy as well, and he knows Shane Watson's a good player. You get him in the right position, the right environment, he's going to do well. Ajinkya Rahane, really good Indian player. You know, if you get him in the right environment, in the right place, he's probably going to do well. He's a good player. So that's the simple way of looking at it. And I think Dhoni does that a lot. Yeah.
We dig out some more things which are just MS Dhoni hunches. We saw evidence of it in the last game against Mumbai, where you tend to see a lot of captains, team managements, not go for the left-arm orthodox spinner against the left-handers. And we saw Santner and Jadeja run through Mumbai's left-handers at Wankhede. And there's another instance, we go back to their title-winning 2021 season, where CSK bowled 101 deliveries of left-arm orthodox spin to left-handers, all by Jadeja, and by some distance the most by any team. And the numbers were terrific. They dismissed Dhawan and Pant both in an important game against Delhi, conceding just the 9. These are again just things that somehow other franchises are perhaps reluctant to try, and when he does it, it works. Now I don't know if there's a huge amount of fortune or just some sort of great thinking and impulse that goes into these decisions proving to be right.
Yeah, it's interesting. The whole matchup situation is relevant to a certain extent, but what's more relevant, and this is what Dhoni's got in spades, is that interpersonal skill. And the ability to get the best out of individuals. So you take away the fact that this is a left arm spinner against a left hand batter, or a right arm off spinner against a right hand batter. That's not in Dhoni's thinking. He's more looking about getting the best out of his man at that moment, regardless of what the conditions say, regardless of what the batter is at the other end. It makes no difference. My connection, and this is Dhoni's connection, is with his people, and that's his players, and that's his greatest strength, is that he has his men's back, and his players know that their backs are covered.
Have a look at our mobile app, download it if you haven't already. The App Store and Play Store is your destination.